Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boost Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great hump day. Hope you're getting over the hump and having a great day. DeMarvion Overshown, Agent Zero is back on the block. And I have to say, this is amazing that a guy who is recovering from a catastrophic knee injury is literally becoming a superstar. Now, you know, sometimes you have an opportunity, you have a shot for stardom, and this is setting up to be maybe the most incredible story. Now, this is dream and happy life here of this idea, but if he were at some way able to come back earlier than what people think. Now, 9 months was Adrian Peterson coming back from ACL surgery and having a 2,000-yard season. Nobody has recovered from an ACL injury like Adrian Peterson. Now, to make this even worse, though, DeMarvion Overshown, we're talking about ACL, PCL, and MCL, completely tearing 3. But today, you know, the doctors are pretty good. To put that in perspective, here's how crazy it is. Now, I made a miraculous recovery from an ACL, and you're going to call me a liar, and that's fine. I don't care what you call me. But I tore my ACL the last scrimmage before my senior year in high school. And back in that day, they were just beginning to use the scope. They went in and they literally just cleaned up my ACL. They just trimmed it, took it out. There was nothing they could do to save that. And they weren't at the point where they were rebuilding without cutting your whole knee open. And they made the decision that if we cut your knee open, it's going to be a 2-year recovery and you'll never have a chance to play football again. I missed 4 games. I played football 2.5 weeks after having ACL surgery, which is crazy, okay? Without an ACL, of course. But if Overshown were able to come back and play the majority of the season, he's already put out there that he's looking to be comeback player of the year. What?
I might need to get a new jersey.
Agent Zero.
I thought Rowdy could only be 0.
No, they changed the rule. And so you see Agent Zero, this is the marketing of the Dallas Cowboys. Only the Cowboys, Agent Zero may sell more jerseys than anybody else, except maybe, I don't know, unless, you know, if we draft a wide receiver or something like that. But I can guarantee you, Agent Zero, his jerseys are flying off the shelf. This is the marketing business of the Dallas Cowboys, that you literally have a guy who has not played a whole season in football be hyped up with his jersey in the offseason that they are literally announcing where this jersey is able to get right now. And he is literally doing the circuits. Check this out. Check this out here.
What would you say to those guys who are drafted in later rounds about what it takes to make it at the next level?
Remember where you right where you're supposed to be. Don't let that number beside your name wherever you get drafted, undrafted, because, you know, just being here in my short span of time, I done seen guys that was drafted at the highest and guys that was drafted at the lowest, and those guys, you couldn't tell which one was drafted the highest because the undrafted guy, he came to work every day with a chip on his shoulder. So please don't let that number discourage you of your worth, of what you put on tape all throughout college. Just know that you got it in you. Don't let the NFL scare you from what you've been working for your whole life.
What would you say to those guys?
Words to live by. And see, it don't just stop there. It don't stop there. A lot of you guys saw, of course, this morning, basically the release of Agent Zero's.
But it's the last number change, so no more customized jerseys. We're going to have zeros in the pro shop, so
I know you've seen all this.
But it's the last number change, so
That's the last number chain. And so this is one of those ones. I'm, and I'm not trying to force this because the last thing that you want to have happen is he rushes to get back on the field and then he's not ready and then it gets hurt again. And then you're talking about career threatening. I'm remembering with RG3, who had such an incredible rookie season, he blew out his knee. And they were the offseason campaign was, I think it was Adidas, all in. It was like all in. And I remember I went to Redskins training camp that year and was looking at him at training camp, because this is back when they used to have it in Richmond. And I looked, all the porta potties. But I remember seeing him out on the field and I was like, bro's got a hitch in his step. He's not anywhere near ready to start the season. Like, he's still got a lot of recovery to do. But they started him at the beginning of the season, and he didn't have the speed that he had, the ability that he had, and defenses, of course, figured out that keeping him in the pocket would take him out of his game, and it destroyed his career. I think that was the beginning of the end because he came back too soon. But on the flip side of this, if Overshown were able to get back in September sometime and play anywhere close to the level that he played before, the sky's the limit. He's comeback player of the year. You're doing something even greater than what Adrian Peterson was doing. Well, okay, now he did have a 2,000-yard season, so it would still take a great season by him. But you understand that the chances of that happening are not real good. But here, let's finish this off with an interview by Patrick Watkins, of course, with them. That's why I said that he's becoming a star sensation right now.
Here with none other than the first ever Agent Zero for the Dallas Cowboys, DeMarvion Overshown, superstar linebacker. DeMarvion, just talk about what this means to you with the first one at Texas, with the number 0. You're ushering in that era with the Dallas Cowboys. What does this number mean to you, and just how important is it for you to wear it?
I've always felt like as soon as they changed the policy where you can wear 0 in the NFL, and like I just knew it was meant to be, like being the first one to wear it at Texas, as you say, growing up a Longhorn, a Cowboy, in the great state of Texas. I wear it as a badge of honor. It's not too many people that get to say they the first to do anything, and the fact that I was the first to wear 0 at Texas, first to do it in Dallas Cowboys history, that's a badge of honor. And when I say, it's just like when Superman put on his cape, when I put that 0 on, man, it's really Agent O out there.
And speaking of feeling like Superman when you put that on, everybody's anticipating your return to the field. Obviously, you suffered a devastating knee injury last season in 2024, but you're no stranger to adversity. You bounced back from the first one, was on the trajectory to be a Pro Bowler, if not better. What's your outlook, and where are you right now in the recovery from that injury?
I'm expecting no drop-off. Just the other day I said I'm not only want to be nominated, but I want to be the comeback player of the year, just knowing like what it takes to get back to the level of what I was playing at, knowing that I'm capable of that. I've been through this before, so that, of course, that helps. And, just knowing what I'm going back to, it ain't my rookie year no more. Last year, it was still brand new to me. It was like a kid in a little tiny pool. But now, I feel like I'm a shark in the ocean. I can do what I want to in this league. So it's really just about getting healthy.
Now, there are some outside the building who are wondering if you step foot on the field in 2025. What's your message to those people who are doubting your ability to overcome adversity and your ability to return this season?
Keep it coming. It just fuels me. I see it. I'm not blind to it, but I know what's for me, and I already seen myself and what I'm gonna be doing on the field next year. I've already seen it in the vision, so I just know that The love, I feel the love just as much as I see the doubters. So, just keep it coming. But no, I'm gonna be on the field next year.
And once you get onto the field, and even now you're preparing with another defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus. He returns to the Dallas Cowboys, and he's known as a linebacker guru. Guess what position you play? Linebacker. What have those conversations already been like with Eberflus, and what's his plan for you on how to utilize you in his system?
Just making sure, first of all, I'm ready when I get healthy, and that's been our main talking points. Is just staying in the building. Even when we doing cones, just line up the cones. Mental reps, but it's running hit defense. Exactly where I want to be in. What's gonna make me take my game to the next level. We talked about things that I can work on, things that not only gonna make me a Pro Bowler, but an All Pro, and a guy that's up for the Defensive Player of the Year award one day. So just having those conversations, knowing that all his defenses are like that, and he's not going nowhere where he don't believe he can make some stuff shake. And I'm all for it. The guys in the building is all for it, and we ready to run through a wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, DeMarvin.
Ready to run through a wall. The legend is growing, man. The legend is growing. If he's basically put it out there. I don't want to just be nominated. I want to win that mother humper. And for those that are saying he can't do it, I've been through this before, and you can guarantee that he's busting ass to try and get this thing together. He's got 4 months before training camp, 5 months before the season starts. It's still quite a bit of time. And when we see how well he seems to be moving around, and Lord knows he's been moving around from interview to interview pretty good. We've seen him line dancing pretty good. I know that's not an NFL game, but there's still a lot of time for him to finish getting that thing together. All righty, good people, as always, I appreciate you guys. Peace out.